Hi, I'm Luke. Today on Auto Darts, we just got back from Maryland Mayhem, a 3-day event that was an absolute blast. Let's get going.
Watch the kill go. Go. Hold it.
You are now in a 10-minute home.
You get her? You get her? No! Start! Right! We need to move! Eli, move!
Just remember, you're joining the winning side. Welcome to the Horde.
2023 was the first Maryland Mayhem, although they did run an HVZ event last year, which several of my friends attended and told me was a great event, which gave me the confidence to sponsor this year's event. We were really happy to be there throughout the entire weekend. I brought along Perry, our social media and video guy, and he was able to play as well and partake in the whole weekend of festivities. Before I go any farther, I really want to just say a huge thank you to all of the event's sponsors and attendees, and especially the staff that put it together. Neil for organizing everything, Dart Sweep for running Sunday, and I'm sure I'm forgetting just dozens of names that I should have included here, but thank you for running these events. Without volunteers and a lot of hours and labor and time, there's really no way these events would happen. Maryland Mayhem was a 3-day event. Day 1 included a competitive nerf game and a little mini convention where we had a variety of different vendors available. Day 2 was an all-day long HVZ, and Day 3 was a standard Superstock game at an outdoor field. My blaster of choice for the entire weekend of games was Momentum, and I know people are just dying to hear more about this blaster. I ran both Momentum and our brand new Koda Mags, both designed by the legendary Eli Wu. Thank you, Eli, for rebuilding this brand new version for me right before the tournament. I got to run this all weekend long, and it never let me down. I had not a single jam, not a single failure, just, just works, and really legendary performance all around, and really had a good time. Day 1 was a competitive nerf game, and that was a quick flag style game. We had 13 teams. I competed on Team Smog, and we took 2nd place, and I have to say it was a really lovely competition. I felt like everybody had a really good time. We had a really fair game and a lot of good sportsmanship all around, and a lot of good, just warm, fuzzy feelings from playing. We had to play really hard to get 2nd place. Ultimately, Team Magic Smoke came out on top, and they definitely deserved that win in a really tight final match. Now, I've played a number of competitive matches and different game types, and this one was really a lot of fun. It really brought me back to sort of my speedball days. There were lots of opportunity to play really aggressive and rush really hard. The games did not last very long. They had a 3-minute timer, and I found that a lot of the games only lasted about a minute and a half. And some of them went the full 3 minutes, but it really depended on the playstyle of the two teams. The brackets were arranged in a round robin so that the 13 teams all competed to get rankings, and then the top group of teams got a bye to pass straight on to the quarterfinals, semifinals, and then the finals. We made it, of course, all the way to the end and took second place, but it was definitely a challenge all the way through. There's a center flag in this game type, and the center flag gets you 2 points if you can get it to your opponent's line, and each elimination of a player gets you 1 point. So in the first half of the day, there was this sort of fun magic and mystique of trying to figure out how many points do we have, where are we on the leaderboard, and are we going to rank, and how many points do we need to get in this match. And it made the playstyle a little bit different because you had to actually think about how many points you wanted to get out of the match with, because fully eliminating the other team might not be as advantageous. If you also lose too many of your own, you might want to control how many points your opponent gets, and it made for a really interesting morning. The field was great. It was an indoor soccer field, though I will say it was pretty gnarly when you do fall on that. I played in shorts and this jersey, and I definitely took home some scars, which are at least healing, thankfully. You find as you get older, you don't heal as fast. This has been over 2 weeks, and I still have this nice patch on my arm. But it was definitely reminiscent of paintball days playing on AstroTurf. However, thankfully, it wasn't also super slippery full of paint. The team I played on consisted of King of Games, Zelkos, Rogue Contra, Eli Wu, Beret, also known as my buddy Brett, and myself. And then Perry was our 7th member, kind of as an extra coach kind of person and supporting position. Perry also ran the booth during the little convention. We'll talk more on that in a minute. It was really great playing with these guys. I played with a few of them selectively here and there, but not together as one team. So it was a new experience, kind of showing up, playing our hardest, trying to organize and do our best. But ultimately, we had a really good time, and I would love to play with these guys again if I get the opportunity. Simultaneously, on Friday was the convention. Now, we had a little booth showing off some of our latest products, showing off the Koda magazines, and a few other products that we are currently printing. There were about 15 other vendors, and it was a really nice opportunity to see what other people had been up to, as well as meet some of our other friendly competitors from all around the country. And I always really enjoy that. In fact, I wanted more time at the convention side of things, but I was also competing, so I couldn't really bounce back and forth as much as I wanted to. Day 2 was Saturday, and Saturday kicked off HVZ, also known as Humans vs. Zombies for those who haven't played before. Humans vs. Zombies is a competitive game where most everybody starts as a human, and if you get touched or tagged by a zombie, like a game of tag, you turn into a zombie. You start off with very few number of zombies, and by the end of the day, you generally have all zombies. The game set a new record for their attendance at around 350 people, and I felt like it was a really well-run game, especially considering we were over double their previous record for the sheer number of people they had to manage. I really liked that they had different mod groups set up where different groups were doing different missions completely, and those missions would frequently intertwine. One fun little mission was using semaphore, which is flag language or flag spelling, and Perry was pretty involved in that, and we had to signal from our ship to another ship a message, and that would get us to our next task. And I had a really good time. Perry actually survived nearly to the end, and I think I've got it on camera. Hopefully we're showing it here, where I failed to even react fast enough to save him. I feel like I could have saved him. Sorry, Perry.
Holy gag right there.
Yeah!
Bring it in.
Hold up! Don't step in!
Oh no! Shoot!
Hey, bring it in. Luke, you're 10 o'clock.
Dang, I saw him too late, Perry, sorry.
I eventually also got turned zombie. I unfortunately am foolish and am terrible at running my camera. So on probably what was the 10 or 15 minutes of best HVZ play I've ever had, I'm embarrassed to say I wasn't rolling the camera. And we had this great situation. We were going down this aisle, and there's all these nooks and crannies, and we basically had to punch our way back through a bunch of zombies. So they're on a couple-minute respawn timer. We're tagging people out. It's pure chaos, and then this one kid, much younger than me, came through and tagged me. I gave him a Koda Mag as a victory trophy, and he did have me sign that and wrote, I killed out of darts or something like that on it, which was pretty cool. We had a really good time. I've definitely got to get better at rolling my camera and making sure the battery doesn't die and whatnot, but it was a really enjoyable HVZ event. I always like HVZ. It's very, you're running around, and it's just, my heart always gets pumping. One thing to always keep in mind is it is a little bit of a contact sport at times. I did come down this slope at one point. We've got this on camera too. I definitely was rolling. It had started to rain and I came down onto some stamped concrete. It's basically like a polished concrete. It's smoother and I totally ate it. And I thought I was going to be out for the day, but my team around me, people around me were nice enough to help me up, guard me, and let me limp around. And after about 15 minutes of limping, my legs started feeling pretty good. It is still sore at the knee 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. So yeah, do be careful out there, especially in the rain. We did get rained out for part of the day, but it was really no more than 45-minute to an hour delay. So ultimately it didn't impact our game that much. One thing I did want to mention here that kind of bugged me was a complete lack of dart sweeping by a lot of other players. And I hate calling people out like that, but I basically forced Perry and some of my other buddies to pick up darts, and I picked up darts for about an hour and 45 minutes. And we were picking up garbage bags full of darts, and there were hundreds of people standing around. So I think it's really reasonable to ask all of the players to spend time picking up darts because we're playing on a college campus that is gracious enough to let us be there and let us use the event and the facility. I do know that they have a club there that was intending to pick it up the next day, but I don't know that a 30-person club, 50-person club is used to picking up darts from a 350-person HVZ game. The sheer number of darts that were out there that we were picking up was just mind-blowing, and many hands make light work. And it's my opinion that at any game you go to, you should be helpful and make sure you're not contributing to the mess or the problem. You know, if you're running a proton pack, please pick up your 2,000 or 3,000, 4,000 rounds. Don't just leave them all there. I think it's a really nice courtesy, and it ensures that we get to keep having these games in the future. One other sort of scheduling thing that I really think could have been improved, and this is one of my other small pieces of feedback, is that the day we were playing HVZ was also New Student Day. So at times there were literally hundreds of non-players walking around, which definitely caused some issues here and there. I tried to be good about talking to strangers and being very approachable and warm rather than being a little terrifying, because sometimes people, groups of humans come running around screaming and whatnot, can give the wrong look. I would highly suggest in the future, if it's at all possible, not running this on any day where you're going to have so many new students or just non-players there in general. But this is part of the college season. I mean, it's the middle of the school year, so I do understand there's only so many weekends available that they can actually book this campus. Day 3, I finally got to sleep in, and that was very nice. We managed to keep staying up far too late because there were a lot of good friends I hadn't seen in a while. Both Eli and Brett are not local to me, but they're good friends, and it's nice to hang out. So there were a lot of late night hangouts compared to my normal life as a dad, and ultimately we didn't get as much sleep as I thought I might on the trip. But Sunday morning, the game was pretty late. It didn't start till the afternoon, so we had a nice vendor brunch, and then ultimately went out for the Superstock game. Now, the Superstock game was absolutely crazy. It was essentially in this big field, nice flat field in a church, and the weather was just perfect. Really nice out and tons of bunkers, but there were so many people playing that people had to kind of double and triple up on the bunkers, but it made for a lot of targets to fire at. So hopefully we've got some good footage there. I really had a good time putting momentum through its paces, meeting tons of new and old friends, and just getting out there and seeing the community, seeing what people have been working on. The whole weekend just left me with a great warm and fuzzy feeling, and I am thrilled to be part of this hobby and this community. Thank you again to all of the organizers who put this event on, who spent all of their time and money and effort on this weekend to just show us all a good time. I cannot recommend Maryland Mayhem highly enough, and I will definitely be back and sponsoring in 2024. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'm out of darts.
Back mid! Get back mid! Sorry.
That would have been bad.
All right. Get hold it down. Watch the leg.